Okay, welcome to this second video for the Dreamtime soundtrack tutorials. In this one we're going to try to do our foreground sound effects. So last time we did our background sound effects, rainforest, night, campfire, and some water. And now we're going to do the things that sit in the foreground, bring our video to life. So, how do I do that? Well, first of all I want to clean things up. This classic electric piano track, GarageBand made that when it first created the project, but I don't need it. So I'm going to select it and delete. And secondly, as I do this, I don't want to hear the narration. I want to mute that. So I do that by clicking this little button here. I want to see the video, and I want to take notes. Okay, so I'm good to go. What I'm going to do is watch, and I'm going to, for the very first part of the video, identify a couple of sound effects that I might want to add them. I'll do the rest off camera, and we'll see the result at the end. So, here we go. I'm going to play the video. Okay, here we go. Alright, so that's a really good example. So we've got some movement here. We've got some objects, some things coming into the frame, and that's where we want our sound effects. So there's three sounds that I can identify here that are going to be helpful. One is, as our character picks up the fish, we'd have a splash. Secondly, he's going to throw that fish. And thirdly, that fish is going to land. So I want to see what bars those happen in. So first of all, where does he pick up the fish? Well, about here, bar 6. So we're going to have a splash there. Next, he's going to throw the fish. Where does that happen? About there, bar 7. And thirdly, it's going to land on the campfire. So that's bar 8. So we're looking for a whack or a thump sound. Okay, good. So I would keep going and do the entire video. I would probably be looking for about between 5 and 10 incidental sounds. But what I'll do is I'll jump to putting those sound effects in, and I'll do the rest off camera. So let's go back to our sound effects folder. That's in Finder. And remember that we got there by going Shared, Server, Student Share, Arts, Music, Sound Effects. Okay, so there's 3 that I'm looking for here. A splash, a throw, and a whack or a thump. So first of all, a splash. Let's see where that is. Here we go. Perfect. So I'm going to drag that in. I'm not too fussed about where it goes. I will try to keep them in order though. Bar 7, the throw. So a whoosh sound would be good for that. Okay, let's put that in. And then bar 8, a whack or a thump. The one I'm going to use this to put those in. Okay, good. So I'm now going to get my notes off. You've got plenty of space on your page. You'll be able to keep these up. But I'm going to put them down so that I can actually see this really well. I'm going to zoom in a bit because that's going to enable me to more precisely place these sound effects. And then I'm going to place them where they need to go. So first of all, I'll put them very roughly where they should end up based on what I remember, which was bar 8 was the punch, bar 7 was the whoosh, bar 6 was the splash. And then I'll do it more precisely. So to do that, I grab the sound effect, and notice that as I move it left and right, it advances the video. Okay, so I'm looking for when do I see the fish? Okay, there, but I'm going to cover up the whoosh, so I'm going to move that a bit further up. So I see the fish here. Okay, so let's put that there, and then play it and check. Now, to my eye, that's a little bit late. Also be loud. Pull it down. So I'm going to move it back a bit, and try again. Okay, that now looks really good. So as he reaches in to pick up the fish, we hear a splash. Okay, good. So next we're going to find our whoosh spot. So here we're looking for where does he throw the fish? Right there is where it leaves his hand. So we're going to put the whoosh there, and again we'll play and check. I'm happy with that straight away. And the punch is pretty much almost right from the start, but we'll get it precisely there anyway. Here there's no fish. Here there's a fish. So either here or here. We'll try that, which is I think where it started. Let's check that too. Perfect. So the whole sequence is splash, whoosh, punch. Still a little bit loud, that's all right. If you were doing this professionally, you'd have a different track for each of these, but we don't have room for 50 GarageBand tracks, so we'll just keep them all on one. All right, so what I'm now going to do is go off camera, and I'm going to do the rest of them, and then I'll play you the results at the end so you can see that later. Okay, so I've gone through and done the last couple that I wanted to add. Let's just quickly show you what those are. And then I'll play the video so that you can hear this layer of progress. So there's our splash, whoosh, and punch that we already had. Then I've added a whoosh as our character throws the fish bones. A crunch as the Moon Man picks up the fish. Zoom out a little bit. In this scene, we've got some wooden things being placed on the ground. So I've added a couple of bumps as they go in. I'll just move the video up there. And here I've got my final two. So for this last sequence, I saw that we had something that looks a bit like a fireball. Moon Man bursts into flames here. And then at the end, he becomes the moon. So that's the end of the story there. Now I've done one slightly tricky thing here, which I'll just show you. So with the fireball sound, I thought it would be kind of cool because this sort of seems like a mirror image to me. He turns on fire, and then he's kind of transforming. And what I decided to do was to take that fireball sound, copy it. So I just did that by Option click drag, which creates a copy. Then I reversed it. So that's not too hard to do. I selected the region, and down here there's this little option, reverse playback. So I checked that, and that reverses the sound of the fireball, which is a kind of cool effect rather than just having the exact same sound effect twice. All right, so I'll play the Moon Man video with the sound effects scrolling underneath so that you can see how that's panning out, and I'll also add in everything so far. So now we've got our background sound effects, our narration, and our incidental sound effects too. Whole lot. Here we go.
One day, Moon's two boys told him they wanted to go hunting for the first time. They would catch food for the whole family. Down at the billabong, the boys had fun catching all kinds of fish. All the boys brought back were bones. "They're just bones," said Moon. "We'll go back and do it right this time." The boys were not good at keeping promises. The women went looking. They found the trap. It was their sons in there. "When you die, you will die forever, but I will never die."
Cool. All right. So that's the first goal for you, is to get to the point where your sound effects are more or less done. In our next part, we're going to be looking at using your keyboard to add some background sound effects. Okay?